Live from the J.C. Newman Cigar Studios and the Gurkha Cigar Studios in the great state of New Hampshire. Welcome to the Smokin Tabacco Show with your hosts, Matt Tobacco and Pat Chamberlain.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Smokin Tabacco Show. My name is Matt Tobacco from SmokinTabacco.com. I am trying to take a prop photo for the show tonight. There we go. I got it. That's what I wanted. Sorry about that. It's all about the little details, though. But welcome to another episode of the Smokin Tobacco Show. I'm joined not in studio, but with my co-host, Mr. Patrick Chamberlain, attorney at law. And it's going to be an interesting night tonight, Pat, because we have a guest coming on with a very extreme different set of topics that we can discuss. April Fool's Day, extremely large ring gauge cigars, maybe some sweet for dessert. I don't know. I mean, it's a wide range here. It's not your standard, I make some good Dominican cigars or Nicaraguan cigars and I got 4 lines and 6 different sizes. No, there's a lot to unpack with this guy. And if there's anyone who can do it, it's him. I don't know about, those guys at Aganorsa Leaf. I mean, I don't know if they're up for the challenge for the large ring gauge. I think these guys are the kings. But anyway, how are you doing, Pat?
I'm doing well. It's a good week of work so far. Busy and nice to sit down and have a cigar.
You look comfortable over there. It's nice out tonight too. It's nice.
It's so nice. Yeah.
It's actually colder down here than it is outside. So it's actually nicer being outside for you.
Yeah. No, it's it snowed out about a week ago, but hopefully that's done. So.
I know. I put my fertilizer down today. Started my sprinkler system up. Started getting the lawn going. Put all the patio furniture. Got the grills ready to go for the season. I'm like, this is time. No more cold. So hopefully it stays that way.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, let's bring our guest in. I don't want to keep the suspense for too long. I want to get this guy on here because he's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, returning to the Smokin Tabacco Show, it is our good friend Mr. Tom Lazuka from CLE and Asylum Cigars. Tom, what's up, buddy?
What's happening, Matthew? How we doing tonight?
We're doing good. How are you?
I can't complain, man. Just kind of recovering after New Orleans and preparing to hit the road again.
Yeah. Hit the road, Jack.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be getting ready to light my cigar up, and there's no one else I'd rather be with right now than our friends at 2guyscigars.com. That's right, the number 2, guyscigars.com. Head over there for an amazing selection of cigars and accessories. Maybe some new brands, maybe some that you know and love. Buy some of both. Get what you like, but also explore a little bit. Don't be shy. Number 2guyscigars.com. And as always, actually, I'm sorry. I went a little bit too quick on that one. I didn't even ask you guys what you were smoking yet. I fucked up. That's on me. Tom, you're our guest. What are you smoking with us tonight?
You know what? I pulled out one of our Asylum, get it up there, the Sensoriums.
Oh. Very cool cigar.
Yeah, my humidor is actually pretty empty, so I didn't have a lot of choices in there today.
So you're telling me that your humidor is empty? That's peculiar. You work for a manufacturer. Or you are a manufacturer.
I've got more on the way. They're just not here yet.
Yeah, I mean that's not something you hear every day. To be fair, I feel like most of the guys I know that I know about their personal situation, like Carney, for example. Carney doesn't have a lot of cigars in his house. At least it's been that way for the last couple of years. I mean, last time I was at his house was probably 2 years ago now, I think. And he doesn't have a lot. And I was like, and he's like, well, dude, I'm always on the road. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. So I guess it shouldn't be a total shock, but.
Yeah. I usually keep. I've got still a number of quite a few cigars in there, but just not mine.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I've got too. Old stuff that I've got our old Asylum 7s and 8s, but I never pull those out very often. So.
Well, I like that stuff too. That's the hidden gems that are tucked away, and you're like, oh shit, I remember this from 10 years ago. I got a lot of that stuff too. Pat, what are you smoking tonight?
So I'm just smoking the traditional core line Asylum 13 6x52.
Playing it safe. Okay. Didn't want to go too big with Tommy. All right. That's fine.
No, that's all right.
He's
That's our
got
number
the.
one selling cigar. So
Yeah, I put the April Fools in the humidor, but I don't know if I
Oh.
want to with that one.
Well, I figured that I would come out of the gate a little hot, and I'd tease something new from Asylum, and that is going to be the new split personality. That's right. Check it out. Seeing it here. Tell me, these haven't shipped yet, have they, or are they on their way to stores?
they have not shipped yet. We're looking probably at mid June, a couple more weeks, about 3 weeks.
Okay, so the wait is almost over, but I was at PCA, so I know somebody who I got it from. But it's delightful. I have to say, I already smoked one at the show. It's fantastic. I think you guys should run out and buy them especially if you like flavored stuff. You should run out and buy it. If you don't love flavored stuff but you don't hate it, still give it a shot. Because even I don't smoke a lot of flavored stuff every day, but when I smoke this, I'm like, this is a nice treat that I would look forward to once in a while. And I would keep a box on hand for like once in a while. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to have one. I'm in the mood. I think it's great. And, I even brought some of Nicole's banana bread. She made banana bread muffins because I said to Tom when I first lit it, I was like, dude, this is like my wife's banana bread. And he was like, yes. And I was like, so I made sure that I had my pairing props ready to go for the show tonight, and I'm going to have the whole experience. So, very, very excited. But, as always, with us is our good friends at ST Dupont. That's right, shake up the legacy with ST Dupont, featuring the new monogram collection. I have the new Line 2 monogram collection, all gold. I know Pat's got the Biggie, as well as the Cigar Res Cutter. Alrighty, so, I'm going to light this up now, because I've been waiting. I've been talking too much. That cold draw.
Nice ping.
Les wanted to make sure that I had a line too, so I always pinged on every episode.
He's, I started my career with Les, so many years ago. So
I'll tell you, the dude knows how to market. I mean, wow, fantastic. I mean, even on the cold draw, it's like you taste so much. And you taste it on the wrapper, it's sweet. But I found like a lot of cigars, you have that sweet tip. It's kind of just a generic, like plain sugary sweet. This, like, you can really get a lot of the flavor off of it too. And it's good. It's a lot, but it's good. But you know what? The thing is I like about it is it's not so like one dimensional. I feel like a lot of flavored stuff, it can be a little like one dimensional. This is got a lot of different things going on in terms of like on the cold draw, like the flavor is more specific on the outside of the cigar as well as in the smoke and when you draw through it, and once you get it lit, it burns really well too. You could tell it's not a firm pack on it, so it draws really loose, and it's nice, makes a lot of smoke.
Yeah, one of the things, we try and do, well, what I try and do when I'm kind of coming up with the flavors, and it's something, again, it's only a few years for us that I've been doing any of the infused or steeped or, that type of cigar. And, I always want the look, the colors, the name, everything, to kind of bring your senses to tell you what the flavor is without actually saying the flavor in the name. So, we were able to play on this one pretty good with split personality. This cigar itself is banana, caramel, and almond. And, I think it's a really nice mix. I think, like you said, the aromatic part is you get kind of that sweeter banana smell. And then, through the taste, you get a lighter of that banana. Like I said, it's more of a banana bread, and you get the caramel and almond notes with it too. So,
yeah, I've been thinking about that first one that I had in New Orleans with you, and I was like, oh man, that was good. And I remember I had the cool brew for the first time, and I was like, wow, I'm like, this is something. And I liked the minty aspect of it because, again, like I've had flavored cigars, and and I'm not saying it's the only mintier one that's ever been made. I don't know, but it was the first one I ever had. And I was like, wow, this is so different. It's so cool. It's so just refreshing, and it's I couldn't smoke it every day. Like, it's one of those things where I feel like if I smoked it every day, and I'm not saying that other people couldn't, but for me, I don't know, I could smoke this every day. But I would, this is something I would look forward to smoking here and there, and it's different, it's refreshing. And then he came out with this, and I was like, wow, this almost has more of a flavor like the banana caramel nut thing.
Yeah.
Not just like the regular tobacco, flavoring that we talk about. But that specifically, I feel like the infusion or whatever is stronger than the cool brew. I feel like it's like even more potent in this cigar than I remember with the cool brew. And I don't know if I'm right on that. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but from what I remember, I'm like, I feel like I got a lot more in this than the cool brew.
Yeah, well, the cool brew, like I said, is you really get that kind of chocolate notes on the smell, on the pre-light. When you light it, it really does give you that minty kind of through your sinuses and things like that, with kind of a regular cigar finish to it. And one of the things I really try and do is, when we're doing the steeping process with the cigars, I don't like to over infuse them per se, right? Like,
Yeah.
I want to make sure there's still a cigar first. And it's sometimes it's hard to find the right wrapper because they all kind of take differently to what you're doing to it. So I found that, like, the Habano wrappers, the Maduro wrappers work very good. I originally wanted to do I was trying to do it with a Connecticut wrapper, but the flavor wasn't right. The aromatic didn't hold the smell the same, so I switched it over to Habano wrapper. So it's worked very well.
Yeah, and I think I agree. I think it works. I think it's great. It's sorry, I'm like looking. I think I have a. Oh, I might have a small little leak here on the top. I don't know if that was me. That might have been me. I think I have a small little. Oh yeah, I got a small little crack there. That might have been on me. Well, that's on me. That's not on construction. That was on me. I could tell. It was from the squeeze when I cut it. I have a little crack at the top there. It's all right. I'm just gonna have to keep that covered. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so this. So again, I think that for and again, it's not just because Tom's here. I really was impressed by this cigar, and it's one of the reasons why I was excited to have Tom on tonight. Is to talk about this and all the other stuff that you guys have too. I just can't recommend it enough. Give it a shot, even if you don't like it, fine, but at least try it. Okay, just don't knock it till you try it. That's the only thing I'm gonna say. So please, just try it. You might like it. But the other big thing that came out of the show for you guys, which I think a lot of people are also talking about, arguably probably even more, is Megalophobia, the April Fools. I mean, what's going on here? I mean, I know we did a show interview not too long ago, so people saw, but now we have more time to really get into it. So, I mean, I know that for those who haven't heard it from Tom, or if you haven't seen our show interview, I know you said that Christian was like, enough's enough. Like, we're not doing this. let's just put an end to this. I know Aganorsa and Terrence, they came out there 10 by 100 as well, and it was like lines were being drawn in the sand, and then Tom was like, I got to put an end to this. So you came out with it's a 13 by 136.
134.
134. I was close. 134. And again, I said this in New Orleans, and I'll say it again just because people always say it to me. It's bigger than Skip's Femur, because I think that was one of the biggest cigars that had been made, I think.
Yeah, that was 133 and a half by 10.
Yeah.
So I just went a little bigger, it's funny, when we got into the 70s, going on 13 years ago, Christian laughed at me and thought, that's the worst idea I ever heard. Even the David, two guys, always he jokes with me because he was like, Tom, if I would have thought you came out with a brand name Asylum and Big Green Gauge cigars, I would have never thought it would work. But we didn't know, but it worked for us. So and we did the 80 by 8 because it made the 70 look normal, and then we did the April Fools, which was really just a joke, right? Like our marketing team put up a post on social media that said, "Hey, Asylum 990 coming soon," but if you flip the page, it said April Fools, and we had hundreds of comments on there that just said, "Make it, you pussy!" Like, we want it. Like, they're doing it. So I said, Christian, and he's like, "All right, we got to do it." So we did that, and then, obviously, Arganosa came out with the 10 by 100, and when they did that, I went to Christian. I said, "Nobody can have a bigger cigar than us." So he's like, "I like it," and so we waited until our 13th year here and came out with the 134 by 13. And the enough fun. The funny part about it is the enough is kind of like my joke to Terrence Riley, because he always, I love Terrence and Fabian over there, and Terrence always said, "Listen, just make something bigger so this could be over." So that's kind of my homage to Mr. Riley over there. So it's a funny joke between us.
Hopefully, this is the end of it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much bigger you can go. I mean, the other thing too is to make a cigar like that. In all seriousness, you got to use a lot of tobacco. So
it is a lot.
To manufacture. So how many being produced total?
500.
So you're making five cigars or boxes
Yes.
of two. So five. So only 500.
250 boxes.
Okay, so only 500 of these things are going to be made. But the amount of tobacco that you're going to use to make those 500 cigars is probably the equivalent of what? Like 4,000 cigars? Like, I don't know. Have you figured out like the math?
It is. It's 8.4 ounces. So it's a little over a half a pound. It is
Wow.
the equivalent weight of 390 by 9s. So we're looking at about, I don't know, 130 plus pounds of tobacco for 500 cigars, 135
Jeez.
pounds of tobacco.
That's a lot of tobacco.
Yeah.
Now, are they all and so in the rolling, is there only like one pair that rolls them, or is there like a group that rolls them?
Oh yeah, we just have one guy that rolls them.
Yeah, I figured as much. I'm curious again. Not to really keep getting into the super technical specific questions, but I can't help but wonder, how long does it take to roll one of those? I mean, I know what the average cigar is. It's not that long, but like one of those, I have to imagine is like,
That's a question. I don't have an answer to that. I'll have to find out. Because when I've been down and working on the project, I've never really watched them roll it. They just have them ready when I get there and say, "Okay, how's this?" And we were trying to actually originally do a 3D printer tip with it, so you could put the tip over the edge and make it obviously much easier to smoke. But because they're so big, if you made the tip too tight, it would kind of break the wrapper putting it on, and so you had to make it a little bigger, and then it just wouldn't draw right. So you would get it on, it wouldn't seal. So I took that out. I was hoping to have two of the tips in there too, but unfortunately, we just couldn't make it work. We tried and tried.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, once you introduce something that may or may not ruin the cigar, regardless of the reason or whatever, and it just becomes, well, the cigar sucks, because that's just how it always seems to go, right? And you don't want that.
For sure.
So, it will be harder to smoke, but I think you're better off than having a bunch of cracked tips and people like, "Oh, I can't smoke this thing. It's already broken. It's too big."
Yeah, and they're not cheap, so that's what I said. I couldn't put something in there that wasn't going to work 100%.
Because what are those each? Like 60 something bucks a piece?
They retail is 125.
It's like 120. Oh wow, I was far off.
Yeah,
That's a lot for one cigar too. Yeah. So it
is. I mean,
I'd be pissed if mine broke too.
Yeah, exactly. So we had to be careful with that, and we sold out of them at the show, so they're done. And if demand in the future says, "Hey, we still want them, we'll do another production later in the year.
Did they sell out fast?
You know, I didn't know when they sold out, just because at the show we took the orders, and they weren't getting entered in right away. Our system was down at the office, so we really
okay.
didn't get all the orders finished until like yesterday or Monday.
Oh,
So
okay.
so I really didn't know the total, and I wasn't sure how many we sold, or so it worked out pretty good. The show was really, really positive with the new products.
No, that's good. No, that's good. I noticed that there was a bunch of stuff. We talked a lot about it in our video recap from the floor.
Yeah.
You had that. You have the collection of the time capsule,
Yes.
which is coming out too, which I thought was also really cool. The way it was set up, and it's kind of, and Booth kind of did something similar with his anniversary. So he came out with like a humidor. It's got, well, I think he's up to what, 15. So he's got like he's got the first 5 anniversaries, but then like on top he did like a Culebra for each year. I mean, not exactly the same, but that kind of, like that collection of past releases.
Yeah.
Something I feel like we've seen a little bit. A couple of different manufacturers the last couple of years. We've seen these like little collection sets, and I like that because. And I remember talking to Carney about it because when he would do when he worked for LaFleur, he was doing those gourmet smoke sessions events, and each event had like its own little cigar that he did. And I remember he mentioned to me something about like, oh yeah, at the end, like I'd like to do like a collection where you can get like one of each of all the event cigars. You can have like a whole set of them. And I was like, oh, it really got me thinking. I was like, I really like that idea, especially with these like limited run stuff. If after a while you come back and you get like a set of it, you'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that one and this one and this one. So I thought that was cool too. Just something different.
Yeah, no, it was, one of those ideas I kind of had when we first started the project, right? In general, like, we started in 2012. We didn't launch the first limited series until 2019. So it was the Asylum 7 series, and I still have people ask, how do I get the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6? But they don't exist. We didn't make it. We didn't start the project till year 7. So I kind of had this in my mind from the beginning of the project, was to set some aside and do a project that has all of them in it. So we were able to set some aside, so we limited it to 250 boxes of the 70 by 7s and then 500 boxes of the 1118s. And it has, again, 2 of the 7s, 2 of the 8s, 2 of the 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s. And then we just put 1 of this year's release, which was the 13. And, I think from here, I kind of end the series off like that. And, if we get good feedback on what blend people like the most, maybe that becomes the next Asylum, core line project. So.
Yeah, that's another good idea too. I think Espinosa did something similar with their Warhead line. They brought back like 2 of them this year, and they said, we asked, what people's favorites or whatever, and they brought them back. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like, it's something you could do too. A lot of people could do. And, in a sea of like all these limited edition products or these small production, small batch things, and after a while, they kind of just, I don't want to say all bleed together. I mean, they're all different, but they're all the same. It's 1,000 boxes of this, and it's got broadleaf for it. It's got Habano, and like when they're gone, that's it. And it's like, okay, and that's cool, and you smoke it, and it's gone. But I kind of like it's still the same thing. It's still a one and done, but I like that idea of like just doing something that's a little bit different, where people actually be like, oh shit, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's cool. Like, oh, that's coming back. Like, it's kind of, I think that excites people more. I feel like people are getting bored with, I mean, maybe not from your perspective, because people are buying them and they're selling, but I don't know. I get this sense. And Pat, you worked in the retail store, so you can definitely chime in at any time and tell me if I'm wrong or not. But I feel like it, just in conversations I have with people, in general, I feel like people, I don't know, the limiteds are becoming too much. Just like the regular plain old, single limited. And so when I see stuff like that, it's nice. It's different. It's like, oh, there's like it's like a collection set. It's a whatever. I I think that's cool.
Yeah,
Or like the
and
revivals.
we don't do a ton of like limited cigars. I kind of
Right.
always equate it to getting blue balls. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you smoke it and then you can never you can't have it again, right? Like you if you really like it and you want to get it again and they don't exist. So we don't do a lot of those projects, like obviously we started this one and it's the only one I really do that's truly a limited release. um, so hopefully, like I said, we'll pick one of the blends and get the feedback this year of which one people thought was the best and what they'd like to see from us, and then maybe make that a core line product for us available all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Someone in the comments had asked Tom about his PC.
Is that Travis Hess?
It is, yeah.
Damn you, Travis. Damn you. But no, I just got a new one, so I upgraded my home gaming system a little bit.
I was gonna say I suspected that's what it was when someone asked was I'm like he's gotta have a custom rig, and then I'm like, does Tom Lazuka seem like the guy who has one of those? But I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, but all I play is Call of Duty. I play with my son and a couple buddies every so often, but it's my old one wasn't running right, so it was actually full of cigar smoke because I always sit and smoke a cigar when I play, and then the fans suck in all the smoke. It was just coated, so
Yeah.
I passed that one down to my son, my oldest son, and he cleaned it all up, tore it apart, and now he's running it.
Yeah, I keep mine upstairs in my upstairs office off the bedroom because of I don't want to smoke around it. I always when we first bought this house and I was like, oh, I'm gonna like move my whole office setup into the smoking room, and then part of me was like, don't do it, keep that separate because I feel like I'm gonna regret it and then it'll be too late. So
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, no, and I'm so glad I did. I mean, my laptop, is probably just completely covered in smoke and ash on the inside, but whatever, it is what it is. I need something. And it's funny because when Kevin used to be on the show, he had a MacBook. I use a MacBook for the production, and he has a MacBook too. And I remember he told me something interesting, and I was like, I don't know if this is BS or I'm like, this is strange. He went to the Apple store, and he had a problem. I don't remember what it was, but he went in for service, and they looked at it, and they obviously noticed it kind of smelled like smoke, and
Yeah.
they took it out back, and they came back, and they told him that they were refusing to work on it because they were afraid of getting nicotine, like poisoning or just being in contact with the nicotine from the exposure of the smoke with the computer. And he was like, what? Like, and I'm like, he was telling me this story, and I'm like, is this he's like, no, he's like, they were like, oh yeah, we don't want to open it and touch anything inside because it's probably contaminated with nicotine. And I'm like, are you serious? like who said that? He's like, the Apple store. I'm like, the Apple store? I'm like, that is, I don't think I've ever heard that before. I don't even know if that's even a thing. Like, is that even possible? Or is that just someone who's like, I just don't want to deal with this today?
Yeah, that's got to be someone just who doesn't want to, anti-smoking, whatever. What are you
Oh
gonna
my
do?
God. I'm like, that is just ridiculous. I mean, like, look, some people don't smoke. I get it. That's fine. I'm not going to force it on you, but like come on. Like, that's ridiculous. Oh man, that's going to be one of the crazier things I've heard. Just in general, just being around, cigars all these years, you hear a lot of weird things. Everyone's, I feel you hear some weird thing, whether it's a manufacturer with a retailer or whatever. That's a weird one for me. Anyway, I saw that comment. I was intrigued, and I was like, I gotta ask because now I need to know. Pat, you're being quiet over there. How's your cigar doing?
Good. I haven't had a Coraline Asylum in a while, so
Really?
nice pressure back into it. Yeah, it's been a little bit.
Now,
This is the first time I've had one since the rebranding, actually.
really? Yeah, That's the other thing. You guys did a lot of rebranding in the last couple of years. A lot of the new boxes, the packaging, things are a little bit more color coded now, which is something that I think in the industry, like industry wide, is a lot of manufacturers are doing, and I think it's great because I really do believe. Um, sorry, I was trying to suppress a yawn there. I really think
You
it's
just
great.
made me yawn.
Yeah, I know. I shouldn't have said anything. But I do. 'Cause, there's a lot of other manufacturers that are either calling it a color or just color coding it, or they're doing both or whatever it is. Um, and again, I think there's a lot of consumers out there who they come into a store and they're not as in tune with things like me and Pat. So they try a cigar and they love it, and then they kind of forget about it. They come back, they're like, oh yeah, that Asylum, the 13. They're like, yeah, which one? I
Yeah,
don't know. It had a black band on it with a skull. Which one?
yeah.
Oh, now it could be like, oh, I had that red one. Oh, okay, yeah, I know which one that is. So
Yeah, for us, there was a couple things with it. When we originally did the traditional sizes in 50 count boxes, so they were large boxes, and then we had, uh, obviously a number of the Asylum 13 lines. So even in shipping, it kind of made it confusing. Like it was easy to confuse, and so I wanted to bring the boxes down to 25 count. Obviously takes up less space on the shelf and gives us a better opportunity to sell full boxes when we're doing events and things like that because of just the cost proposition of a 50 count box. And then obviously the colors are just to stand out on the shelf. What's funny is we went the opposite direction with with the CLE line last year, as we had like orange and yellow and red boxes, and uh, we kind of went away from that, and now they're just a traditional all wood color, unfinished look to it. So Christian wanted to go a more traditional, I would say, like Cuban style. But that's been a big success for us too with that repackaging. So we've definitely done some repackaging over the years, and and you'll see repackaging in our Aroa lines coming out now. Is we brought them down to 10 count boxes from 20 count boxes, so those will start shipping soon too. So we definitely mix it up every 5 years or so. We change things up.
do you think 10 count boxes are going to be the new normal? I feel like I see more and more getting away from 20, going down to 10, especially as things get more expensive. You know,
Yeah, I think the cost proposition is important when it comes to that. When a cigar is $15 to $20 a cigar, and there's 20 in the box, when you're looking at a $400 price point to 200, I think it's just a lot easier to get someone to invest the 200, $180 into your brand. And again, the boxes look very nice, but I think yeah, when you're at an event pushing a box sale, definitely 10 count is easier just because of cost.
right?
On more expensive cigars.
Yeah,
I
I
would
mean,
say
go ahead, Pat.
retail. The original Asylum boxes were my least favorite to work with. It
Oh
was
yeah,
so
I remember
it
those.
was they would sell too. Like they would sell like crazy, but it was so difficult trying to fit it on a shelf, and especially like back then, it was the boxes that there were two pieces. Like it was like a cabinet, you can call it. Like you would take the top off, so now there's no nice way of opening the box up. You just take the lid of it off, and it's like this kind of box tray with everything inside of it. So it didn't look good either. It took up a lot of space and it didn't look good. And there was no
Yeah,
color on the.
and we ended up on the bottom shelf all the time too because
Oh
the
yeah, that's
boxes
the only
sometimes
place it could go. Yeah,
they
unfortunately.
wouldn't fit. And with the idea, the original idea of that is one of the things that we do with CLE Cigar Company is, and we started this many years ago at Camacho. But we were the only cigar company, only tobacco company ever certified through Bayer Crop Science. And what does that mean? It means we have zero impact on the environment. So when we look at the boxes, uh, we use less trees, less wood, and that was part of the Bayer program. How we irrigate our fields, doctors, sanitation, the products that we use are food grade. Everyone that can be is food grade. So it kind of played into that at the time. But what it did is it kind of stunted our brand, in a sense that, again, we always had poor product placement because it was on the floor, because it didn't fit on the shelf. You know, the lids were nice because they were trays. You could leave them in your humidor and people could put cigars in them and walk around with it. And so, the concept was worked in the beginning for us very well, but it definitely needed a change, and really just to get better shelf placement and more recognition to the brand just by being able to see it on the shelf.
I remember seeing the boxes for the 80s, and I'm like, damn, that thing's like a chest.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's just a regular box. I'm like,
And that's
damn.
actually the best chest. That's the best way to explain it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
there's
like
only-
a chest. It was like big. I'm like, holy shit.
Man,
And I
went
think
into
that-
play. You can go. I can go after you.
No, I think that the 80s only had it was a 21 count box.
Yeah.
The 70s were a 30 count box, and then the 60s and below were 50 count boxes. So, it was kind of confusing altogether. So we tried to streamline it the best we could.
You know what's funny is I remember when those 80s, because there's a 6x80 and there's an 8x80, right?
Yes.
So I remember when I first discovered those many years ago, I was like, this is so strange. I'm like, wow, that's a big cigar. And then I'm like, who? And obviously the first thing is like, who the fuck smokes this? And I remember I started hanging out at Twins, and it wasn't like it was 20 people always smoking them, but I would consistently see guys in there smoking those 80 rings. And I remember it was one of those things where I was like, something, more people smoke this than I thought. And then I'm like, well, they have to, because they still make them and sell them, so someone's buying them. But I never would see anyone smoking them. And then I started going hanging out at the lounge, and I remember one time I was in the lounge, this guy sat down next to me, and he had an 8x80. And he lit it up, and he just started smoking, and he was by himself, and and I didn't say anything to him, but I just remember just glancing over once in a while. I'm like, wow, he's smoking that whole, and I was there for a while, and I remember he was there for a while too, and he only smoked that cigar, but I remember he was getting down to the band, and I'm looking at his ashtray, and I'm just like, damn, that guy really did smoke that thing, and he did it, and in the look, looking at him, it wasn't his first one. He was comfortable, he does this all the time. I'm like, wow. I'm like, this guy really likes to burn big sticks. I'm like, wow. And that was when for me I was like, something. I'm like, maybe the big cigars are important, because I don't know. I always thought it was more of a novelty, but I guess more people smoked them than I realized.
And I think working in retail, you really see that in effect, and that's why Asylum was an interesting brand for me to follow, because now correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean the name Asylum comes from the idea of making large ring gauge cigars, and because wasn't it they said you were insane for thinking of something like that, and
Yeah.
I recall you made the observation going into stores and you would see boxes that were empty of these big ring gauge cigars, so you thought there was going to be a demand for it, and then hence the Asylum came out, which interestingly, I guess a question that I have after you comment on what I said, if there's any comments needed, but how did you create a brand that requires so much tobacco as a core line? Because I can't imagine it was easy to make a regular production cigar that required so much tobacco.
Yeah, I mean, I'll answer. The first part is, the Asylum name. We play into it, and the Megalophobias and Insidious and split personalities and some of the names, but the true meaning of the Asylum brand is, our tagline is "Everyone seeks asylum," and that's really just about where you go to smoke your cigar and get that hour or 2 hours, or in the Megalophobia case, 9 hours of relaxation to enjoy with your friends, whether it's the golf course or on the back porch. And you're 100% right. I was just traveling on the road through the years. We weren't the first 70 ring gauge cigar in the market. I mean, at the time, I think, JFR, wasn't called Organosa at the time. It was JFR, or a different name of the company, but
Casa Fernandez.
Yeah. They changed it to Lunatic eventually, but Grand Habanos, George Rico had 70s on the market, and so I just, like you said, I traveled around the country and I saw empty boxes, and people are like, I see them, but we can never get them. They take months to get back in stock. So that played a big role into when we went to blend that cigar, because people will ask, did you make your masterpiece? Did you how did you blend it? And basically when we went in to blend that cigar, I just said, don't bring me any tobacco, binder, wrapper, or filler that you can't make a million cigars with the first year. So the biggest key to that cigar was price and supply, and that's really what made that cigar take off, is we supplied it. And all of a sudden, very quickly, we launched July 2nd of 2012. The first PCA was in August that in Orlando that year, and we weren't quite sure how it was going to work, and then we got to the PCA and it blew up. I mean, instantly. And again, it's our gift and curse as a brand. We're fortunate enough to really be a brand today, and people recognize the Asylum name and logo, and they think of it as the big ring gauge cigar company. But we do make Lanceros, we do make Robustos, we make Toros and traditional sizes. But 70 by 7 is our number one selling SKU, and almost every line that Asylum has, the 770 is the number one seller, then 880, then 660. So we do really well with big ring gauges. We have a lot of, shout out to all the truck drivers. We got a lot of truck drivers that, are over the road, and they want to not have to light and relight every hour or 45 minutes. So they'll smoke an 80 or a big ring gauge a 70 and get 3 or 4 hours out of it while they're driving. So, it's again, the curse and the blessing, because people forget we make traditional sizes too, like the Toro that you're smoking,
That's
So
a
they're
good
gonna
point
make
about the
another called
truckers.
the 18. They're making one called the 18 wheeler coming soon. Watch. Next
Oh.
year.
I like that.
Yeah, one of the things that I'll admit, when I started, so I started at Twins probably 6 years ago now, and I viewed Asylum 13 as a gimmick because of, again, like me being a new smoker, like a big ring gauge was foreign to me. I'm like, why would anyone smoke this? And I was consistently proven wrong with releases. Like I remember the Asylum 9, the 1118 size, that year in 2000, that would have been 2021 maybe, or am I wrong on when that
Yeah,
came out?
it would have been 19, 20, 21. Yep.
That was the best cigar I had in 21. And then
Thank
in
you.
22, the core line, the 1118 TAA came out. And again, that was a phenomenal cigar. It was $9 MSRP. Great smoke. And it's just, you pay more attention to the brand as a whole. And even like, again, the Robustos, the Toros, they sell just as well, at least at Twins, as the larger ring gauges. And again, I smoked the Toro. And I mean, this is the first time I've had it in a while, but I've had it before this point. And it's a good cigar. It's not just a big ring gauge brand. Like it's good quality products, and it's a good price point. And the thing that I liked today was the first day that I saw the new branding for Asylum 13, and it does not look like a gimmick. It is a very well marketed brand now. The cigars look phenomenal. They're out of the cellophane. They have that tissue wrap on the foot. It looks good. It looks very good.
Thank you very much. It's developing all the time, right? We're trying to reach the market the best we can, and create a product that people can enjoy, and again, give them good quality, construction, and price point at the same time.
And then the split personality, I never smoked it, but when I heard of that before the trade show, I mentioned to some of the guys at Twins, I'm like, I feel like you got to get that because it sounds good, right? Like a lot of the flavored cigars in the market have interesting descriptions of flavors, and hearing that it's going to be like a banana split type deal, it's a very neutral flavor to have infused into a cigar. And then the natural cocoa you get in a Maduro, I'm like, that's going to be, even as someone that doesn't smoke sweet cigars, I find that appealing because I think it's not gonna be. I haven't had it, so I could be wrong on this. Matt can speak more to that, but I feel like it's gonna be more like a natural sweetness opposed to just like this infused kind of sugary. You get like kind of sick like that when you're at Halloween. You have too much candy. That kind of feeling you get. I don't picture it being like that, just based off of the description that I've heard about it.
It's definitely sweet. It's at first it's really sweet. It's not too much, and again, it's not even just that it's sweet. Like I was saying before, I feel like there's a lot of sweet tips or flavor cigars where it just has this plain sweetness, right? This actually, it's not only is it sweet, but it's the flavor. It's that same flavor that you're gonna taste when it burns, when you do the cold draw. It's the banana nut caramel taste. And I think that's what makes it nice is because it's not. I mean, I've smoked a lot of stuff, and I don't want to name any names because it's not a knock against them, but someone will try to turn it around on me because they're all good cigars. But I've smoked a lot of other cigars that they're sweet tipped or whatever, and they're nice, they're cool. And the one thing I notice about them is they fades kind of quickly too, and it's like, oh, that was cool. And some of them, like Pat said, like some of them, they can be a little bit too much. Some of them, it's just like it's there and it's like, oh, that's nice, but then it's gone before like the end of the first third, and it's like, oh, this like really hangs on. It's not just a plain sugary sweet. It's the full on flavor, and it makes the whole experience, complete. I don't feel that it's, even though it's stronger and it lasts longer, I don't feel that it's like, ooh, it's too much. I've smoked a couple of those, and it just wasn't for me. This was not like that at all. When I was like, whoa, this is the complete package, in my opinion, with this particular type of cigar. It was everything that I would want out of a cigar like that. I felt this really hit it home. It didn't water away too quickly. It wasn't like too sweet or it was like gross. It hit all the right notes for me, so to speak, in terms of the component part of it. And then of course it smokes nice too. Like I said, it draws fantastic, a lot of smoke. The cigar breathes well. Gotta try not to smoke it too fast so it doesn't get too hot, but that's more on the smoker. Other than that, so far it's great. This is the second one I've smoked already, and I have no complaints with it so far. It's really nice, and it tastes good with my banana bread.
Yeah. Well, I noticed our boy Les Man at ST Dupont commented there. He said he's going to pair it with a glass of milk and banana bread, man. And thank you, Les Man. Love you, brother. You always been a big fan and supporting me, man. And a moment from ST Dupont.
A moment, yeah. There's my ping. That wasn't even like, I was just like, oh shit, I gotta even this out. But yeah, what a perfect time. No, but he's, it's interesting. I've never thought to pair a cigar with milk, and then he said that, and I'm like, something. If I was to try it, it would probably be with this cigar. I mean, I just don't know, like, or maybe Cool Brew. I feel like that one would work too.
Maybe like vanilla almond milk or something. I don't know, regular milk. I don't know any.
That's true.
Milk,
that's true. Yeah, I'm like, who drinks milk with a cigar? I mean, like, and again, that's not me knocking Les's comment, but
no.
In the generals, I'm like, yeah, who? I'm just trying to think, like, who that there's a guy out there at his house, and he's like, I'm gonna get myself a glass of milk and a cigar and just sit on the front porch, and it's like, that's your combo. Really? Okay.
Hey, listen, go for it, man. Whatever floats the boat, right?
Milk with Hershey syrup. I mean, yeah, that works too.
There you go, Leslie. Sweeten it up a little bit, my man.
That's right. Yeah, you gotta balance that out. The sugar is good for the nicotine too, So, Pat, do we have sorry, I can't talk today. Do we have trivia for tonight?
Of course.
Alrighty. Our trivia segment brought to you by Perdomo Cigars, featuring our 2024 Cigar of the Year with the Sun-Grown Perdomo 30th Anniversary Epicure. Perdomo Cigars, quality, tradition, and excellence. It is time for Pat's trivia, and we'll see what he's got up his sleeve.
Trying to get a good theme for this one.
Theme. Let's see. any of your pop culture ones are great because I feel like people either like they're easy and people get them, or it's like I've never heard of that movie. And then you tell me, and I'm like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. I think I did see it once or twice on the reruns or something, and then I'm like, yeah, it's coming back to me, but it's too late. I already made myself look like an idiot. I didn't have the answer at the time. So those are fun. The science ones, like history and like animals and shit, I'm usually pretty good at that myself. Because even though I didn't pay attention in school, somehow I still absorbed all that information anyway. So I don't know. I guess I got lucky.
I think I'm gonna stick to animals on this one. I got some good ones for animals that I actually, if you get any of these, I'll be shocked, and I will.
Oh boy, here we go.
April Fool's cigar on the next podcast.
I'm gonna hold you to that too. I'm gonna hold you to it, and I don't care who's on him. But like, I know you're here, but he has to smoke this asylum because he lost the bet, and he's gonna do it. So don't take it personally. Well, usually when the guest comes on, we smoke their cigar, especially usually there's something new. So, but if we can get you on this, I'm definitely holding you to that. So I'm like amped up. There's money on the line for me here.
All right, I'm gonna go with this one here to start off with. Which flightless bird is from New Zealand?
Flightless bird is from New Zealand. All right, the first two that come to mind, that's not from New Zealand. Flightless bird. All right, I'm going to take a stab. Well, I'll let Tom go first. I think Tom should go first as the guest.
I'm going to go ostrich.
Mm-mm.
I don't know if they're in New Zealand or not, but I don't know too many flightless birds.
That's a good guess. Not quite what I was going to guess. Peacocks? Because they don't. I mean, they don't really fly. No. Yeah, ostrich is a good one. I would have guessed that one too, because it's kind of exotic. I could like that area of the world. They don't fly. It's not a penguin because penguins are Arctic animals. I'm like, what other bird? Like flamingos don't fly, do they?
Yes. They migrate.
Yeah, so it's not flamingos. I'm like, what other birds? And you know what? You're gonna tell me. I'm like, oh yeah. Like what birds don't fly? Ostrich, peacocks like flutter a little bit, but they don't generally fly. I don't think. Oh boy, this is a pretty rare one. Then you really got me on this one. I'm giving up. I don't know about Tom.
Yeah, I have no idea. No idea.
The kiwi.
The kiwi? That's a bird too, or is that a joke?
It's a kiwi.
That's the name of the bird?
The bird's called kiwi.
Wow, that's confusing. I only ever knew of the fruit. Now I'm like, what the hell is a kiwi bird?
I know. I gotta Google this.
Oh shit. Okay, yeah. No, that it is a real thing. It's a strange looking thing too. Look how long that beak is.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god. Flightless birds endemic to New Zealand of the order. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that. Wow. Okay. Well, you got me on the first round. What's the next one?
Let's go to this one here. This is a big fact for asylum.
A big fact for asylum?
Big fact.
Okay.
What animal species has the largest eyes?
Ooh.
Which animal species?
Animal species.
And this is a first. Okay. I see what you're saying now with the asylum thing. Okay. Okay. Largest eyes. Like not category, like specifically like whales and shit like that. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, just the size of a blue whale would make me think that it was a blue whale.
That's where I'm starting. That's where I'm starting.
Land or water? Can
I don't know
we
if I
get a
wanna
hint?
go-
Yeah, see that's gonna give it away. That's gonna give it away. It's gonna
I'm
be.
thinking- What's the
You know what?
largest whale?
I'll take a risk here. I'll give you a water.
All right, so it is water. All right, so we can eliminate a lot of things. All right, so whales are on the table, but I need to like. All right, so before we commit to whale, like, what else is in the ocean that's bigger than a whale? Or
Well, nothing's bigger than like a blue whale, or one of the whales. It's the largest species on Earth, mammal anyway. I don't think
Yeah.
there's anything bigger than it. So,
okay, so it's got to be that, unless something has bigger eyes than the biggest animal.
yeah, in the ocean, what could have massive? I mean, whale seems too easy.
Yeah,
Right?
that's why I'm like,
that's the obvious one. So
Let's
I
say
think
some of the hardest questions are the easiest thought.
yeah,
because you overthink them. I mean, I don't know, Tommy. I think we got to go with the blue whale.
yeah. I think we got to go with the whale. Maybe I'm wrong on the species. Maybe it's a humpback, but I think the blue whale is the largest mammal on Earth. So
You
let's
guys
go blue
both
whale.
have the answer.
Yeah. We're gonna do this together.
Yeah,
I mean, that just makes your odds worse. But I'll take both answers. You're both wrong.
yeah. I knew it. Damn it! I knew it.
Well, now I'm curious to know what it is.
I could give a further hint.
All
Okay.
right, go for it.
It has tentacles.
Oh, a giant squid, like the
Oh, the octopus? No.
It's the
No, but-
colossal squid.
colossal squid. Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
He's got some big ass eyes then, because he's not. I mean, he's tiny compared to. I mean, they're big, but like compared to a blue whale must got squinty eyes.
I didn't even know there was a colossal squid. I didn't know that was a thing.
They're massive. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't want to get caught with one of those. Holy hell.
How about?
Wow, Pat really didn't want to smoke that April Fool's.
I mean, these are like reasonable questions. I feel maybe not reasonable.
I don't
I'll
know.
give
Me
two-
and Tom are not doing so
I'll
well.
I'll give two more, and I think one of the two is an easy question. I'll give an opportunity.
All right.
But let me do one that could. I mean, this isn't a hard one either, so we can go. Which bird's eye is bigger than its brain?
You got something going on with the eyes here tonight.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going
yeah.
for size here. Yeah, but size. We're talking big. Silent, baby.
Bigger than its brain.
It said it's a bird.
It's a bird. Which species of bird eye is bigger than the brain?
Eye is bigger than the brain.
Man, I'm thinking.
Must be a pretty stupid bird.
Man, I'm thinking he said this is an easy one because I said ostrich already, but I'm thinking of a bird that has big eyes, but there's so
And it's
many
not-
small birds. Is it
and
a
it's not-
hummingbird?
For the conspiracists out there.
Yeah, maybe like because I'm thinking it might be just a small bird.
How small is that brain? Jesus.
How about? Oh man, you know who's got big eyes like a great horned owl? I think maybe like owls. They always have the big eyes. I don't know how big their brains are, but.
What a bad guess. Matt, are you gonna go with what he's saying, or are you gonna?
Well, I'm trying to use the logic of, okay, so when you think of like a larger bird, larger eyes, how small could that brain be?
That's a good train of thought.
So my gut is telling me it's a small bird because,
Wouldn't a small bird mean it's a small brain?
yeah, and you can
And
have,
small eyes, too?
this,
And
I mean,
big
you could have a tiny little bird with a tiny little brain, but it's got like, a decent sized eyes.
I'm between owl and hummingbird. They got little
Yeah.
tiny heads.
I'm going like maybe not the hummingbird specifically, but I'm on that train of thought. I'm thinking something small like that, like a hummingbird, or I mean, there's a lot of varieties of small birds. I couldn't name them all, but I'm gonna go probably something like that. I really don't know what I would pick, but I'm gonna say hummingbird in terms of that size and type of bird, just because that's what I got. And I know that's probably not specifically correct, but that's something like that is what I'm going for.
So what we have, owl and hummingbird are the final answers.
Yeah.
I think we're getting a buzzer again.
No, wrong. I actually
knew
was shitting my pants because it's an ostrich, and you were like dancing
Oh.
around it.
Are you
damn it,
serious? Oh my god!
I knew it.
Oh my god!
I
We
swallowed
ruled
my-
that one out.
I was like,
Oh my god, Tom. We were right there.
you were dancing around. I was puckering a little bit. I'm like, oh shit.
Oh my god. I can't believe we fucked that up.
I know, dude. You guys got me off the train of thought when you went to little bird, little brain, maybe bigger eyes. I'm like,
Yeah,
God,
Matt, you
ostriches
screwed
are
him up.
big.
He was on the right thing, and you were like, well, what about you got a small?
I was trying to use general logic. I mean, I don't know. I mean, wow. So an ostrich has a brain smaller than its eyes. Okay, well, that's good to know. They're not that bright, aren't they? I don't know.
Yeah, you know, one of us should have went ostrich, one should have went hummingbird. We fucked up.
Yeah, I know, Tom. I know. We should have divided and conquered on that one. But anyway, that's our trivia brought to you by Perdomo Cigars. And our news brought to you by Micallef Cigars, featuring the new Color Series. The black, blue, red, and now the new purple. I think that launches this week, actually. Up here in New Hampshire. At the number 2 guys, cigars.com, and at 2 guys smoke shops. I'm not really going to read a specific news thing. For right now, it's all PCA coverage. Head to smokintabacco.com and check out all of our PCA coverage. It's not 100%, but we're most of the way through with the booths we visited and the other ones that we had stuff to cover for. There's some other like non-booth coverage stuff that I'm still finishing up, so you know, we're not done, but we got the majority of what we need out. Which reminds me, Tom, your booth I have to finish too. But yeah, head over there. All the articles are up there with the detailed descriptions of what everyone's releasing, a little brief tidbit on the booth and the pictures of the products. Anyone that we obviously have a video interview with, it's embedded in the article, so you can find them there, or you can find them on our YouTube channel. They're all the videos are out. I will say that. Thanks to Nicole for working to get those out. I appreciate it. I've been doing the web stuff, so it takes a little bit more time. But yeah, most of it's out there, and go check it out. We've spent the last 2 weeks working on all that, so go please check it out. That's our news segment for this week. Go look at the PCA covers. That's all I'm gonna say there. But anyway, looking at the time, looking at what we have in front of us here, we're getting towards the end of the show, and it's been a blast as always. Tom, thank you for being with us tonight. I love getting to spend some time with you and having some fun, obviously. Well, last thing I want to bring up with you before I let you go is there was one other thing I saw in the booth that I actually didn't ask you about New Orleans because it kind of just slipped my mind at the time once I had your attention. And I thought of it after when I was working on the CLE Asylum, write-up, which is not done, but you might actually be able to answer. And I feel like you're going to tell me like, oh yeah, that's been out before. And I'm going to be like, I'm an idiot because I can't believe I didn't know that. But I feel like I noticed a CLE humidor in the booth.
Yes.
Is that new, or has that been out and I just missed it all these years?
The small, like the 150 count one?
If I remember, it was like a red chest. Like a good size red chest that said CLE on the lid. If my memory serves me.
Yeah, those are ones that we do for events and things like that. So we've had those out for a couple years.
Okay, because I feel like I'd never seen it before. I don't know how I missed it. And I was like, that looks nice. But I'm like, I don't remember seeing it before. I thought it might be new, but maybe apparently I'm wrong.
Yeah, we do the same humidor. We have an Asylum version, an Aroa version, and a CLE version in all of them.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I don't know how I missed that, but that was cool though. I liked those. I saw the red one and I was like, wow, I'm like that's a sick looking humidor. I flipped the lid open. I said to Mitchell, I'm like, like I have too many like humidors and shit like that. I always see that stuff. I'm like, oh, I like this. Like I want this. But then I think, and I'm like, but I'm like, I think about how many I already have, and I'm like, how many more do I need? It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
unfortunately.
No, and like you said, those are the ones we use as giveaways for our event programs and things like that. So we don't really have them online. I don't believe we have them online to sell, but we use those as the swag for all of our events and things like that.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, they're cool and I like them. So
Thank
I
you.
don't know.
Thank
Maybe one day I'll have one in the collection. I'm always like I don't need any more stuff, but yet the things continue to come in here, and I'm gonna run out of room one day. Pat's been down here. He'll tell you. Everything's just kind of crammed in there. It's a lot of stuff. So, but anyway, Tom, it was great to have you on the show. It was great to have some fun with you. Have a cigar. A split personality is fantastic. I can't give it enough props to people out there, and people know me. I'm not an everyday flavored smoker, but this is great. So I urge people to go out and order them. I don't know if they'll be on the number2guyscigars.com. I don't know if they're going to be carrying it. And I don't want to put Tom on the spot, but let's just leave it at that. So, but if they do, you can buy them from there. But regardless, check them out. And all of the new products that CLE, Asylum, and Eroa have coming out and that are available. Fantastic stuff. They make great stuff. The Eroas, I don't have to tell you, Tom. The Eroa, that name and synonymous with Honduras. And we saw the new hand rolled on Julio, which
I didn't get to see it because we had a sales meeting. We were driving over, so we didn't make it back in time. We were in Mississippi doing a 2-day sales meeting, and while we were driving, Christian's like, "Hey, it's starting," and I'm like, "Man, we were an hour too late." But so I'm really looking forward to it coming out. I mean, I think it's great recognition that is long overdue for Julio. I mean, people don't realize that he was. There with Angel Oliva, one of the first people there in Honduras and Nicaragua, developing them as tobacco countries in the early 60s. And, he really is an amazing man. And I've been fortunate to work over 23 years now in my career with the Aroa family. So I'm excited to see it. I'm kind of bummed that I didn't get to see the preview.
I told Pete, I told Justo, I don't know if I talked to Christian much at the show, but I've told others. I've been a big fan of the whole hand rolled series, like all the the original and all the. I think they're all great. I really do. I think they're all great. I think everyone should see them. But from what I saw, we saw about 45 minutes of it, and then they stopped us because I think because the governor came in to speak. I think we're supposed to see a whole hour of it based on the schedule, but we only saw about 45 minutes. I believe it was cut short because he showed up. But from what I saw, I was like, this might be the best one so far. I mean, it is a great story, like you said, and I think that he is someone that if you're really into this stuff and you really follow this and you really want to get into history on it, and like that, the Christian and Justo and Julio, like that whole Aroa family, that is a very important family in the post Cuba. The New World, all that stuff. That's they're a huge role, and I think that there's a lot of people who don't realize that, and I think that this is a good way to really let people know, like, no, there's a story here that maybe you haven't heard. So I am excited for that to come out as well. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
You don't happen to know when it's coming out, do you?
I don't. I know I spoke with the producers a little bit at the show, and I know they're still finishing it completely. So, this was a preview. It wasn't the full version that they were going to show at PCA. But, I'm not quite sure when the full release will be out. But I really do look forward to it. I think it's long overdue for Christian's father and the family to be recognized for their contribution to our industry.
I agree, and I think it's gonna be big when it comes out. But anyway, that's our show this week, guys. Thank you for being here with us. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you're listening or watching later, thank you very much. And don't forget to like and subscribe on all of our platforms, wherever you get your podcasts and wherever you watch your podcasts. And as always, head to smokintobacco.com For all of your news, reviews, updates, and our 2025 PCA coverage brought to you by Drew Estate, we'll see you on Saturday night